What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with another Destiny 2 video, this time to round up some new updates, content, and details that'll be dropping this week in the game. So, of course we're right in the back end of Heresy now, waiting for the next update in early May. Although there is a small patch for the game this week with a couple of important fixes, so we'll touch on what's worth knowing there, as well as additional things to prepare for and complete in the next couple of weeks ahead of Ride of the Nine. On top of that, there's a bit of a loot event in the Nightfall this week, with bonus rewards and an exclusive drop, so we'll touch on that, as well as Bungie bounties, additional updates, and a handful of other things in the video today. So if you guys enjoy this one, definitely get subscribed to the channel, as around half the viewers on this channel haven't subscribed, and of course we got plenty of news, updates, and reveals coming in the next few weeks, so if you want to be ready for those, keep it locked and loaded, but otherwise, let's get into it. The first thing worth mentioning is that while we had a game update last Thursday, I assumed we were going to get another download today for a patch. According to Bungie server status though, for reset day, we'll actually only get background maintenance, so there isn't any downtime expected, and that maintenance should conclude at 10 AM. That also means that presumably the fix for the collectibles that Bungie referred to actually dropped in the patch last week. But they did say regarding the Heresy title, Heretic, we're aware that some Dreadnought collectibles are not currently available, and they are targeting April 22nd to address this, so if everything goes to plan, those should be available this week after reset. In terms of precisely what those collectibles are, I'm not sure any of us actually know yet. I guess the other component as well is that they're likely to be scattered around the Nether, so probably worth preparing for a few runs, hunting them down, and of course I'll do my best to keep you guys posted on important locations and collectibles. And additionally, we are anticipating some kind of epilogue linked to Heresy. There's rumours that the collectibles could actually be associated with the epilogue as well. Obviously we can't verify that, but if it is the case, then potentially we could see something interesting on that front during the next couple of resets. We'll just have to wait and see. Otherwise, we're currently in a quieter patch until May 6th when we'll get Ride of the Nine. So one of the things worth doing in the next couple of weeks is making sure you've completed all of the seasonal challenges that drop the Curios of the Nine, as almost certainly these will be some kind of currency associated with the upcoming event. We can't guarantee exactly what they'll do, but presumably, given that there are a handful of them, they'll probably be important. And that will be in addition to some free currency that Bungie will be giving to all players on the 6th of May as well, as a form of compensation, I guess, for early Ride of the Nine weapons dropping and ultimately having to be removed from inventories. So those weapons will be taken away on May 6th, but Bungie will give us 1,500 currency, and they've said that will be the equivalent to about 2 dungeon runs worth of weapon drops. So we'll either be able to spend them all immediately or hold on to that currency, which is probably worth doing at least for the first day or so until we know all of the potential rewards, especially if you're going to jump in on the contest version, as that might unlock additional drops of adept weapons as opposed to just base ones. So pick your poison really, you can spend it straight away or wait and see if there might be better versions of weapons that'll be available after completing certain runs, but that's something to keep in mind ahead of May 6th, and primarily for the next couple of weeks, I'd say make sure you get those Curios of the Nine. Something else that's going to be happening this week in the game, and the Sunless cell will be featured as the Nightfall for the very first time. Of course, it was available in the Grandmaster catch-up node, but that was only for an initial run of it, so it's the first time that the strike is actually the featured Nightfall for the week. Plus, Bungie have said we'll get the Palindrome, and I think this is only the second time that the updated version of Palindrome has been featured, so that's going to be the Nightfall weapon, and we've got double drops available, so if you're still after a Palindrome, it's going to be a really good week to jump in. Plus, if you complete the Nightfall on any difficulty this week, up until the weekly reset on the 29th of April, there's an additional Emblem drop, which we can get with the Dark Blade head on it, which is pretty cool, and that's called Break Free. So basically just complete any version of the Nightfall and we'll be able to pick that up, but I'm assuming it's going to be available only this week, so it's a limited time reward, and if you want to grab it, be sure to jump in. And as a brief mention right here, if you are jumping in to try and get a Palindrome, looking at the popular roles for the weapon at the moment, we can see the combination of explosive payload as well as rolling storm is pretty much the number one thing that players are going after. Then additionally in the first slot, Closing Time, Elemental Capacitor, Slice, and Outlaw are pretty popular. Also, Bungie do say they're looking into fixing recycled energy, so it'll hopefully be a more valuable perk soon. But also, the second slot for Palindrome can get Master of Arms, as well as Magnificent Howl, so there are a couple of decent damage bonuses there. And the weapon also gets Stunning Recovery, Wildcard, and Vanguard's Vindication as origin trait options. So if you haven't got the one you want yet, this is certainly going to be the week to jump in, and of course, if you don't have one at all, there'll be some really good chances to get a decent Palindrome this reset. Another final quick mention for today though, there will be a Bungie bounty active this week, so Tuesday, April 22nd at 11 AM PDT, Bungie are squadding up with their partners at Guardians Mental Health, and they'll be streaming on the Bungie Foundation Twitch channel. So if you want to try and hunt them down for a Bungie bounty emblem, that's the first thing. Plus, they outline there is an additional emblem, that's the one you can see on screen, that can be unlocked by making a $10 donation towards the Bungie Foundation. So just another quick component for any folks interested in trying to catch that. But for right now, that kind of concludes the bulk of the Destiny stuff that we can speak about ahead of reset. I'll keep you posted as always later on though. And given that this week, of course, the Marathon closed alpha begins, there are just a couple of quick mentions worth giving on that front. So for anybody who's been trying to get access, I believe all alpha invites will actually be sent via email. So look out for an email coming from a Bungie and Marathon account. And if you do get it, basically you'll have to log into bungie.net and select the platform that you want to play the alpha on. It will actually take you to the redeem code section of the Bungie website, and if you've been invited, instead of the code redemption tab, which is the default one, you'll have to go to the game codes tab, and then any Marathon alpha codes should actually appear there. So that's kind of the process. Of course, you do essentially have to have requested alpha access by using the Marathon Discord, and on top of that, I believe anyone who gets an alpha code will get a couple of additional friend invite links. So just a couple of heads up about that. One of the important things that Bungie did with relation to this alpha though, is actually remove the NDA from the alpha test. So basically, that means everyone can share any gameplay they capture, any thoughts about it, and that will start immediately on April 23rd. So generally it's seen as a positive because it means there's essentially no control over folks discussing the game in its current form, showing off secrets, customization elements, and all of that kind of stuff. And of course, that also means people can be honest about their general thoughts around the game and how it's playing in this particular version. So Bungie is sort of opening the floodgates in that respect. They do say the alpha is a curated, limited slice of systems and content, and Bungie will be keen to get feedback on weapons and gunplay, maps and survival gameplay, runner kits and build crafting, as well as early game progression, factions, contracts, and upgrades. But they also highlight that this is not the complete game, and it does not include final visuals and graphics, including animations and lighting, a polished UI, all of the runners or zones, including maps, pinnacle and endgame content, plus there are a bunch of different items, weapons, gear, whatever it may be, that of course will not be in this version of the game. So a few heads up regarding that alpha right there. Let us know down below if you're interested in Marathon, or if you're going to be playing the alpha this week. And if I get the opportunity, I'll be sure to see if I can give a few thoughts on the game as well. For today though guys, that's what we have to speak about. So if you've enjoyed the video and found it useful, a rating below really does help us on the channel. Plus, once again, get subscribed and I'll keep you up to date with all the reveals and content coming down the road. Otherwise though, cheers for tuning in today. Let us know if you're wrapping anything up in the game this week. And otherwise, I will catch you guys very soon.